But ultimately, guys, just kind of looking at the engine, you can hear the, anytime you kind of start the car up, the car's going to open the door, the car's going to start to prime itself, so the oil pump's going to run, and dry sump oil system, so oil's housed in a separate reservoir, so there's not a oil pan underneath the car, right? One of the kind of cool things I like about this car is you see how low that engine's sitting. It's actually offset to make room for the drivetrain up to the front. They don't have the engine sitting on run along its side. All about having a low center of gravity. You know, when you're looking at an all-wheel drive car, weight becomes an issue because you have the componentry of an all-wheel drive system. So keeping that weight as ideal, and you know, Audi as a brand, as far as the aluminum space frame construction, the body panels, as many of them being aluminum as possible, cars still meet a competitive curb weight.
How much does it weigh?
It's low 35s. So we're looking at hopping in, right?
Yep.
First thing you want to do is adjust the seat. We like to recommend that you run the seat as low as possible to promote a kind of down-the-road field of view, and then start by adjusting your seat. Now, one thing I like to do is just keep my left foot on the rest pedal here and push myself back into the seat and make sure that I retain a bend in the knee. Any car that you get in, whether it's your own personal car or a rental car or whatever car you're driving, you should always be able to reach the firewall with your right leg and retain a bend. So let's just say that you started having a brake problem and your brake pedal's lengthening, and then all of a sudden you get to the end of that brake pedal travel and you ultimately hit whatever you're trying to stop shy of because you had a brake problem. You never want to have a front impact with a lock speed. Now we introduce your knee not being able to absorb the impact like it should. So any car you get in, you should be able to reach that firewall with a bent knee. So the base of your seat should be adjusted, and then posture with the tilt and telescope of the steering wheel. Posture just becomes kind of a personal preference. For those of us who are a little on the taller side, sometimes once we put a helmet on, we can get a little interference. So you might want to kind of recline your seat back a little bit, and then you can unlatch the steering column and tilt and telescope the wheel how you want it. Now, we like the steering wheel to be lined up with the visor for the instrument cluster. So that way you've got access to your gauges, although I'll tell you right now, the next corner comes up on you mighty quick until you get your head wrapped around where we're going. So you probably won't spend a whole lot of time looking at your gauges. And we have shift points rather than, we don't shift at the rev limiter, we have shift points. 2 of our 3 upshifts are short shifts on intention, so we don't run out of gear at an inopportune time. You know, that'll just become part of the rhythm of how we're driving. So I'm going to get a little power assistance on the steering, so I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. Hands at 9 and 3, you should be able to give 180 degrees of steering input without getting your knuckles into your thighs or your forearms into your torso. You should have full range of motion there. Now, the way the transmission works on this thing, again, a little bit unique. The car is always going to start you in neutral, okay? This gear selector, you have a right and a left option, okay? Always keep the gear selector towards the left. So it's going to start in neutral. When as soon as it starts, just pull the upshift paddle and push your sport button. M1S is what you want to see before you roll.